na lávke. Tiraejší si, keď pokynské brondu sklené v bobu. Tam bobu je tým
Their single purpose, destroy our world.
I'm sure God would understand the steps we're taking.
Those who oppose them, die.
Let me repeat that. If this mission fails, if we are unsuccessful, we have no future. We've had enough!
Isn't it about time people realize the ones posing the most threat are none other than yourselves?
What this is war.
Now, these pirates will shake the foundations of the Alliance and change the course of history. If they can stay alive,
Those Gundam pilots are desperate. They'll rather even if it means forfeiting their lives. Mission accepted. Of course.
Just like it is with the stars, there are bright ones and there are those that are dim.
both sides prepare for the final battle. Suit up.
Nothing good can ever come from staying with normal people.
Be very careful.
Mankind has reached the stars.
There has to be some form of punishment.
Love the women that face molesting. Those are the ones that love me. I'm out! Get set! And go. But I'm surging with women. Hillary Clinton's a bigot. She would not be my first choice, that I can tell.
You think you'll be in jail?
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I would.
And I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
Go home to mama.
where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
I guarantee you there's no problem.
I think we should take a drug test prior to the debate. I never heard that one before.
Technological strength will just become a threat to the Earth.
This new breed of technology makes humanity obsolete. Robots, thinking, acting on their own, begin their march toward domination. Built by man, serve no one. The robots among us, watching, waiting, calculate their new world order. Their time is coming. They cannot be stopped.
Attention, strange weapons are approaching. Attention, strange weapons are approaching.
With perfect weapons and superior intelligence, robots rule this planet. Let the fall of mankind give way to a new age.
This little mudball is doomed anyway.
Century 0079. The 1-year war rages on. Spacenoids against Earth dwellers.
I'm gonna drive the Xenon forces right off the Earth.
Zeke against Faye.
Not bad for a Betty, but I bet you're not ready for this!
As both sides prepare for the final battle.
Run for it!
The secret love of two enemies may be mankind's only hope for peace.
Really, you believe you can still fire at the enemy?
They're no better than they are.
We're in a fight, well, here it is!
Again.
the right to dream. There are endless possibilities stretched out before you.
Trust in your own power.
Whatever happens from now on, you stand firm and face your destiny without fear, but with courage.
What awaits him down the path, he will then have to choose.
No one's gonna give you a map. You've gotta walk your own path.
The children leave their homes in search of this quest.
What is thy desire?
As they search, they are always asking questions. What's out there? What's waiting for me?
Why was I made? Who made me? And what did they make me for?
You're gonna go up into space with your old man or not? Maybe I'll never get over this. I've lived my life following my dreams, and I don't have any regrets.
You're gonna just keep running away?
Just keep running away? I'm not running.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Believe in yourself and create your own destiny. Don't fear failure.
Excuse me, bro. You're excused. And let you growl.
Yes, I loved you, but it's still up.
What the dog doing?
Hey. Hey, what's up? Hey, how are you? It's me, Orphan. It's the day after the 4th of July, Independence Day. The day where all of the patriots, the true patriots, got mad over a 5-cent tax. They decided to start a new country. I think that's right. Either way, something worth celebrating. I think I remember reading somewhere that the tax was like less than 1%. And they're like, fuck this, man. This is enough of this garbage. You know, I don't know how we got where we are, paying 35% on taxes at like a minimum. How does Twitter trending work? Theotokos is trending for me, but like it's not. That can't be like nationwide trending. That's got to be tailored to me, huh? Anyways, how are you guys? How's everyone doing? I've got a spindrift. Yesterday was good. Watching fireworks go on. Our kid was scared though. That was kind of a bummer. wanted to go out and watch all the fireworks, but, you know, he's not very old, so what can you do? Yeah, that would be pretty sick if Theotokos was nationally trending. I genuinely don't know how Twitter works, though. Oh, speaking of new social medias, Instagram just released a new social media called Threads. Everyone is posting pictures of Hitler. Everyone is on there doing N-word threads. It's a grand old time. I don't know how long I'm going to last. I would be surprised if I don't get banned. But I hope that doesn't ban your Instagram as well. Who knows, though? Who knows? It's always an adventure whenever something new, and then everyone goes back to Twitter. So I don't think it's going to threaten Twitter at all. It's supposed to be like a Twitter alternative by Meta and by Instagram. But it's probably just going to be Twitter, but with more censorship, I would imagine. So that just sounds shitty. I don't know who would want to use that, but you know, what can you do? What can you do? Maybe it'll be able to promote Instagram easier. Maybe it's some avenue there, but who knows? Who knows? Well, let's get into it. Let's get back in the swing of things. Today we're talking about a really funny video I found earlier. I found this in a group chat. The title of the video here is Nazi cab driver defends wearing swastika armband. And the little twist on the story here is that he's Dominican. And this video's on YouTube, so I'm hoping watching it on YouTube doesn't get us a strike or whatever. You never know, honestly, but we're gonna watch this. We're gonna see what we think about it. It's a good one. It's a good one. It will be interesting if nothing else. You always love when our brown brothers and sisters come through and start talking about some of the virtues of early century anti-heroes. And as we know around here, as everyone with a brain on their shoulders would assume, the narrative is not always the truth. And the victor writes history. And so there's more nuance here, particularly, I don't know how deep we'll go into that without getting banned. Maybe that's a Rumble exclusive, but we can at least see what this Dominican fascist is talking about, see what he's saying, see if it lines up. You know, as far as scenes go, this is just kind of a white pill, so we're just going to hop straight into the white pill. Oh, baby. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. We'll hop right into it. Probably pause throughout.
All right, so you said, what do you think about wearing that? You know, did you mean to offend anybody?
I didn't mean to offend anybody. I'm just expressing my First Amendment, freedom of expression. You know, if other people have the right to wear what they want to wear, then why not a National Socialist?
Well, you know what that means, right?
I know what it means. It is a symbol of National Socialism. The media portrays it as hate, but not to us. Not to us.
Who is us?
The media.
Who is us? So you say us.
The media.
No. You're.
Us. Believers of the ideology, National Socialism. We don't call it Nazi. That's what you guys call it, Nazi. We call it National Socialism.
But you know what happened under National Socialism, right?
I know what happened, but that is another subject. That is another subject. I just believe that we've been told lies about Hitler our whole life. But I don't want to talk about what allegedly had happened over there.
You're saying it didn't happen?
Well, I have no comment on that. I have no comment on that at this point.
Do you have?
Okay, so just off the bat here, I want I don't know if they go into the full the full story here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Essentially, this guy was wearing a Nazi armband, and he was wearing it in his cab while he was driving. His name's Gabriel Diaz. Let's look this up. Suspended NYC cabbie. So he's in New York. Suspended after he was spotted wearing an armband. We said that one of the things that wasn't clear was what he thought he was doing. Well, it turns out it was quite simple. Okay. So I think he just got fired. Or suspended. His parents speak out. Oh, there's a picture of it. Oh, there's a picture of it. Okay.
Yes, I loved you, but it's still up.
Halfway.
Okay. That's pretty much what I thought, but so I guess he was like driving around with that out the window. Oh, that's so funny. That's too funny. Okay. The parents of the Hitler-loving hack says he's driving them to despair and blame his romance with the Third Reich on a long history of mental illness. Diaz, quote, doesn't know what he's doing, his father said Saturday. He's not right in the head. He's a quiet person. He'd never do anything to anybody. He goes to work and comes back. His dad spoke alongside his weeping wife and distraught parents. Struggled with their son's sudden Nazi notoriety. When did this happen? May 2014. Oh, wow. This is an old story then. Wow, that's so funny. I wonder what he's doing now. This is the interview we're watching. Yeah, I can't imagine my parents throwing me under the bus. He offered no apologies after his suspension and upped the ante by denying the existence of the Holocaust. Okay. All right, let's get back into the interview. Oh, this is too funny.
The band with you?
I do not have the armband with me.
Do you wear it normally?
Once in a while, I wear it. I mostly wear it inside of my house.
Why?
Because I'm a National Socialist.
What does that mean?
I believe in the natural order of things.
The natural order?
The natural order. We believe in reason and nature. We believe in survival of the fittest. We believe in all that other stuff.
You know, real National Socialists wouldn't have cared for you at all.
I don't understand that question. I don't know what you mean by that.
You mean, they believed in Aryan supremacy. They believed in they exterminated people they didn't like.
Well, they believe in their race. You see, National Socialism doesn't teach you to have hatred against others. It teaches you to have a love for your race, not against others. Whoever said you have to be white to be a National Socialist, you don't have to be white. It could be anybody.
You know.
All right, and that's the first question that the reporter asks that betrays his his lack of understanding of political movements or history or anything. He, like most people, and this is a colloquial. There's two meanings, right? There's always what things mean, and then there's what people think things mean. Let me say that again a little bit clearer. There's always what things actually mean, and then what people think that thing means. Right? So there's the common understanding. It's like the term racist. The colloquial understanding of the term racist right now, in today's day and age, means anyone who says anything about race, positive or negative, like it's just anyone who mentions the fact that race exists is racist, and they'll throw that slander at you no matter what you say. It doesn't even need to apply to what you're saying. And then there's what it actually means, which is discriminating people based solely on the color of their skin. I wonder if they updated the definition. Let's check this out. And I also want to look up the definition of National Socialist Party, just so we can be clear moving forward. Sorry, getting the music going again. Okay, so we'll go to the old Merriam-Webster. The definition of racism is a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. So baked into racism is both superiority and determinism. So this means you look at someone and you think you know exactly who they are and that you're better than them. So it has discrimination, it has prejudice, it has determinism all within it. Systematic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. Right? So I'm pretty sure this is what it's always meant. But people will use this out of context all the time. And so this is just to illustrate a point that, man, I am washed out. Hold up. Okay, this is just to illustrate the point when the reporter asks him, you don't think that they would? What did he say? He said, "Don't you think they wouldn't take kindly to someone like you?" Looking at his brown skin. And the dude's like, "No, like you can be a national socialist is like it's a type of government. It doesn't have anything Aryan or anti-Jewish inherent within it. It's, that's a flavor of National Socialism, but it's the structure of the government is what it actually is, and this is what this guy's trying to say." Let's look it up. This is Wikipedia. I want an actual definition. Okay, so it says most often refers to Nazism, which is different. It was used by a number of unrelated groups before the Nazis, but since their rise to prominence, it's become associated with them. I wonder if we can find a non-biased definition of National Socialism. The ideology of the National Socialist German Workers' Party in Germany. No, but dude, there had to be. Am I going crazy? What other societies had National Socialism? Or was that literally the first time? I feel like I'm going crazy. I hate paywalls. Yeah, so they were more authoritarian, but they were socialist insofar as they wanted to socialize their country, right? This is where my non-historian, non-political lean comes into play. And so I'm having trouble finding it. Was there National Socialism outside of Germany? It's a form of fascism with disdain for liberal democracy and the parliamentary system. It incorporates a dictatorship, fervent anti-Semitism, anti-communism, scientific racism. Okay, that's not true. Okay, so unless this was the only time, I mean, maybe it was the only time. I thought that it was like a political structure, but maybe it's just a flavor of fascism. I don't know. I'd have to look more into it, I guess. I don't know. I thought I knew what it was too, and I'm looking for it, right? So far-right totalitarian political ideology and practices associated with the big man. So it was frequently referred to as Hitlerism, then later related term neo-Nazism, formed in the Second World War. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe that's just the only time it's ever been. Etymology. The term Nazi was used before the rise of the NSDAP as a colloquial and derogatory word for a backwards farmer or a peasant. Interesting. Characterizing an awkward and clumsy person, a yokel, in this sense. The word Nazi was a hypocorism? Hypocorism? Or a pet name of a German male. So Sozi means socialist, as an example. They shortened the NSDAP's name to Nazi in order to associate them with the derogatory use of the term mentioned above. The term, and I'm trying not to read that. I think just reading this would probably get me like a strike, so I'm trying not to. Okay. Well, I don't know. Speech. So origins. The historical roots can be found in various elements of European political culture, which were in circulation in the intellectual capitals of the continent when Joachim Fest called the scrap heap of ideas prevalent at the time. Almost all essential elements of Nazi ideology were to be found in the radical positions of ideological protest movements pre-1914 Germany. These were a virulent anti-Semitism, a blood and soil ideology, the notion of a master race, and the idea of territorial acquisition and settlement in the East. These ideas were embedded in popular nationalism, which was vigorously anti-modernist, anti-humanist, and pseudo-religious. Okay. So it sounds like this was the rise of it. I wonder what else I wonder what predated this. Like, where'd they get the ideas from? It sounds like fascism, right? Here, fascism. Far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement, characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of the opposition, belief in natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation and race, strong regimentation of society and economy. So it rose in 20th century Europe. So Italy in World War I was the progenitor before spreading to other European countries, most notably Germany. Fascism had also had adherents outside of Europe, opposed to anarchism, democracy, pluralism, liberalism, socialism, and Marxism. Fascism is placed on the far right wing with the traditional left-right spectrum. They saw World War I as a revolution that brought massive changes to the nature of war, society, state, and technology. Military citizenship rose. Okay. Anyways, getting into the weeds. I learned something new there. Hope you guys did too. I thought that it was a wing of politics, of like a government structure. I didn't realize that it actually just originated from World War I, World War II era Europe. I still don't think that innate in it is anti-Jewish and like German supremacy, and I don't even know how far that actually plays into Nazis, or if they just wanted. Like, I don't know. I've heard and read different things, so I don't know. Oh, this is also tough because it's hard to get information. All right, let's check this out.
6 million Jews were killed.
I have no comment on that right now. I have no comment. I do not want to comment on that. That is another subject. That's another subject. I do not want to comment.
You were wearing that on your forearm so people would see it, didn't you?
I do. I did.
And you know what it means to most people?
Yeah, to them it means hate. But I have a First Amendment. I have a right, so I get to, I should be able to wear whatever I want to wear, no matter how offensive it is.
But you're not doing it in the cab anymore, are you?
I'm not doing it in the cab anymore. I told them that I apologize, that I surrender my license to be suspended, and then I'm only suspended for 30 days.
Are you suggesting Hitler was right, or that the Holocaust didn't happen?
I have no comment on that. I have no comment. Like I said, that is another subject, and I have to go in depth on that. I am not going to talk about that right now.
It sounds like you're a Nazi.
I am. I'm a National Socialist. What you guys call a Nazi. I am. I'm a believer of it.
A lot of people are going to be really upset by that. I mean, we fought a war over that.
Yeah, aren't a lot of people upset because homosexuals run around freely with the gay flag and their speedos and dancing like this and saying that I'm proud to be gay? Why can I say that I'm proud to be a Nazi? What you guys call it?
You knew it was a poor choice, right?
Okay, so first of all, this guy's energy is off the charts. He's like, yeah. And even when he asked, like, so you wore it on your forearm so that people would see it, right? He's like, I did. Most people would equivocate and they would sit there and they'd be like, well, no, it slipped down or whatever. And it's like, no, he's like, yeah, I wanted people to see it. He's like, so you are a Nazi? He's like, yeah, man, I've been telling you this entire time. And then, oh my gosh, it's just so funny. I've never seen anyone act like this on camera. It's such based energy. And then the guy's like, well, a lot of people would be upset with that. And he's like, yeah, but there's a lot of gays out here who like people, like if they can be out doing gay pride parades, why can't I in my cab be wearing a Nazi armband? And you take a step back from it. Outside of conditioning, right? Try and wipe your mind completely blank slate. Maybe we'll take it into a different universe or something, right? Imagine that this was just any other political. Sorry, I just got a notification. There's not sufficient disk space to continue recording. Oh, okay. Hold up. Let me go and delete some stuff real quick. That's crazy. I have like a terabyte. I fill up a whole entire terabyte. I guess I do stream and it captures all the video, so. 1 second. What do you guys think of this video? Is it as funny as I think it is? I think it's really funny. Okay. Deleted. Now we start recording again. Should be good. Okay. All right. So take it into another world. Take it into another context entirely. Dude's wearing a political party on his sleeve. Is that any different than gay people doing gay pride parades? I mean, it's literally not allowed to have a Nazi parade down the street. And if we're talking about equality, without getting into Daily Wire, the left or the real racist type mode, you know, if we're having real equality, real freedom of speech, then I think you should be able to wear a swastika on your arm the same way that people wear gay pride flags on their arm. The argument would be, I would imagine, so if I'm putting myself in someone else's shoes, it's like, well, the historical significance of a Nazi flag is way different than the historical significance of a gay pride flag. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't dictate our freedom of speech, does it? It shouldn't. Not in America. Not if we're going on our Constitution. That shouldn't have any bearing. It shouldn't matter. Yes, that would change people's public perception, especially on what information people know about swastikas and the whole National Socialist movement. But should this guy be suspended off his job? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I think people should be able to well, I mean, what's the other side of the coin, right? The other side of the coin is, should we ban gay flags? And it's like, that'd be kind of cool. That's actually maybe not the worst idea. So, what does the question become then? I don't know. This is where I think liberalism's just like a problem. Because you have, quote unquote, we're supposed to be the freest country in the world, right? We're supposed to have absolute freedom of speech. The government can't interfere. Do whatever you want. Free country, capitalism, the market, free market, whatever. This is where libertarians, I think, go wrong most of the time. And it's like, okay, well, if that was true, then I can understand what you're saying. If we have a free market where the government doesn't interfere, there's not like global national interests that are messing with our country, then maybe, you know, you might have a point there that the free market could decide these things, but you always have to deal with the fact that the information is it cannot be unbiased. It is always biased. So this utopia that libertarians and liberals are talking about cannot exist. It's not a world that can even exist because you cannot eradicate bias. both libertarians and liberals both are ideological extremes that take into account the fact that they think perfection can be achieved. Excuse me. Libertarians, their idea of perfection is the free market. It's where proper incentives lead everyone to do the correct thing all the time, no matter what. And liberals, their idea of perfection is equity, where everyone is equal under some definition, and all slights have been taken into account into the system, and then all of a sudden everyone's equal, equitable. And it's like, okay, well, I understand what you're saying, but that will never exist. That cannot exist if you're acknowledging how reality works in the world that we live in. You see what I'm saying? This is where I think a lot of people really go wrong. I think this is where a lot of people get... Well, and frankly, it comes down to an IQ thing, usually. Because there's a level of abstraction, and there's a level of logical conclusions that some people just physically do not have the brain power to take their mind there. I imagine it goes something like this. I imagine an average person, say like a 100 IQ person. An average IQ in the United States. This person has trouble with extreme hypotheticals just because their brain power, but they also can kind of see, they can imagine scenarios at like one level abstracted. So this is where you get into the how would you feel right now if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday or dinner last night? And like lower than 100 IQ people will say like, but I did eat breakfast or I did eat dinner. And I'll have to do a whole show on this. I want to do a proper video, like a video essay on this, because it's super interesting. Same with internal monologues. There are just different... Some people are not capable of thinking certain ways. And I think that these ideologies, the reason they're so attractive is because if you don't take it to its conclusion, it sounds awesome. Libertarianism is awesome if you don't think about it to a logical extent or start taking into account things that are non-materialistic. And just by the nature of how IQ is distributed, most people can't do that. What it ends up looking like is people talk about the free market as an abstract idea, but they have no way to... They can't think deeply enough to realize that will never happen. And if that will never happen, then it doesn't matter what type of pontifications come from that assumption, because your premise is flawed. The world that you're pontificating based on doesn't exist. And this is why a lot of people on the right, they accurately diagnose the problem, but they inaccurately prescribe a solution. It'll go something like this. They'll see trannies walking down the street on Pride Parade, and they'll say, I don't like that. I don't want that. And on the same breath, they'll say, I don't want that to happen, but also they should be allowed to do whatever they want. How many times have you heard a boomer say, as long as they keep it out of my life, as long as they can do whatever they want within the comfort of their own home. Just don't bring it into my life. Don't let it affect me. And it's like, dude, how could it not? Genuine question. Someone living in your neighborhood, just take the scale, right? So we're not talking about a country anymore. We're talking about a small town, smallest town you've ever been through. Drove through on a road trip or something. There's like 50 houses, 50 families. one grocery store. You know the person who owns the grocery store. It's like, okay, the person who owns the grocery store, not even them, just someone down the street decides to become a tranny and starts parading down your street. How does that not affect you? It definitely does affect you because you have to interact with them. Just scale that up, and then you have what we have in our country, like these giant communities of gay, transgender, and they're convincing people to grow their movement. You know, the rates of gayness, I guess. the rates of LGBTQ people are going up year by year, and it's like that just does affect you because these people are interacting in your society. They are part of your society. They are also demanding equal treatment, and more than that, they're trying to like force themselves into your life, and it's just impossible for these people. It's impossible in our country, as interconnected as it is, and in any structure, to have an action of one individual not affect another individual. Imagine in that small town if one person started doing meth. It's not a feasibility that they wouldn't run out of money from doing meth too much and then start destroying your property or stealing from people. That's just how meth works. So the same would extend to a larger country with a different proportion of people. Like everything everyone does in a society affects people. So anyways, long rant to say there are certain levels of abstraction, there are certain logical conclusions that these things take you to that are out of the grasp of a normal 100 IQ person. And an interesting fact as well is that you can't discuss meaningful topics with someone that is more than a standard deviation away from your IQ. Have you ever tried to talk with someone who is either way smarter or way dumber than you, and they're saying something, and you have to explain everything to them, or they have to explain everything to you, because the assumption of knowledge is not on the same platform, and then there's a level of abstraction that also gets you nowhere. So you just can't fluently communicate with someone who is, 10 to 20 IQ points different than you. That's crazy. And it's even crazier when you take it within the context of liberalism, where everyone is expected to have accurate information and be able to come to conclusions and to vote on what happens in our country. A republic it doesn't make sense. And this is all uncomfortable stuff because people don't want to talk about the fact that some people are born with more brain power than other people. But it's just how the world works. So pretending that anything can be a utopian liberal society, it will never add up. It will never make sense. We need a system that farms both participation and genius, and let those people make decisions. Let those people garner more sway in our country. Man, where did I even start with all this? I've just been going down a rabbit trail. Why does every stream that I do turn into why liberalism is retarded? Every single stream I do is... Oh, I filled up my hard drive again. Damn. I don't really know what to do. I do want to record this, but I guess I'll just pull it from YouTube. Why does this always happen? I guess we'll just hard cut and watch the video more. All right, here we go.
Poor choice for what?
To wear a Nazi armband in a New York City cab.
Maybe for you guys, but, if they want to suspend me for wearing a Nazi armband, why don't they suspend a Muslim for wearing a turban? Why don't they suspend a Muslim woman driving a cab wearing a burqa? They should suspend them if they want to suspend me.
At the very least, it's a poor business decision.
Yeah, because I'm not supposed to be mixed business with pleasure. But like I said, if I'm not supposed to make business with pleasure, then a Muslim not supposed to wear his turban while driving.
That's a religious thing.
Well, if it's a religious statement, then it's a political ideology. I'm entitled to it.
What do you believe in? Do you not believe in democracy?
Well, I do. I don't think America is a democracy. It's a republic, but National Socialists don't believe in democracy. We don't know. They believe in a natural, natural order, natural hierarchical order.
A natural order.
A natural order, hierarchy. With the government servicing the people, letting them to live amongst their own kind.
And where do you think you're going to fall in that natural order? Where do you think you're gonna be? You're gonna be in the top or the bottom?
Well, I really don't know. That's something I had to make that decision on my own. But this has, I wear it because I just simply believe in it. We've been told lies about Hitler. We've been told lies about National Socialism. We've been told lies about everything. We're not,
You're an admirer of Hitler?
I have no comment on that.
No comment, sir?
Knowing what that means to other people, the way you were wearing it in the cab, were you trying to warn off people that you don't want in the cab?
No. I wasn't trying to warn people off. The passengers inside didn't know that I was wearing a Nazi armband.
But people on the outside that were going to hail you, you know how people react to that symbol, what it means to them. So
I understand. This is why when a passenger hailed the cab, I didn't show it to them.
Are you sorry?
Well, it pains me that I had to apologize. It pains me.
Well, that's not much of an apology, pal.
I don't want to apologize, but I have to apologize. But if I had to apologize, then a homosexual should apologize for being homosexual, for being open and gay. He should apologize for stop being a homosexual. And tell a Muslim to apologize for trying to say the death to America and praise Allah and respect our Christian heritage.
Would you be interested in talking to the Anti-Defamation League about...
Okay. This guy cracks me up because this is how I would imagine most everyone feels when they are made to apologize to someone for whatever they're getting canceled for. It's like, I don't want to apologize, but I have to, and why don't these other people have to apologize? He's not wrong. The only difference here, and we'll probably keep coming back to this, is that there's a history and there's a colloquial knowledge of National Socialism that is not positive. There is no nuance in this discussion. Nazis, National Socialists, Papa H or whatever, these are all the epitome of evil in Western society. Why is that? Well, we fought a war, lost millions of lives, halted our countries to beat these people. So, in what, you would expect this to be the narrative. And it's been spun even further to benefit certain people. But you would expect the narrative of a victor in a world war to be anti-enemy, anti-who they fought. So it's not shocking that these are all the mainstream thoughts. But as we get further and further from the event, as you get further from any event, more people start to look at it and question the narrative because it becomes less important for the victors to hold that narrative. It becomes more permissible. People are more inclined to look into it because all of a sudden your grandpa isn't around and he didn't want you to look into it, or, you know what I mean? There's autistic people who are rebels, all these things. These are the type of people that start looking into these things, and they come away with conclusions that are anti-narrative. So we're just going through that point in history. It happens. I'm sure it would happen with all sorts of different things. I can't think of any other specific examples, but I think that just makes sense on how it would go. Who was the guy who did Hardcore History? Dan Carlin. Dan Carlin had something about Genghis Khan when I was listening to his podcast a while ago, and he said something similar. He said something, I'm going to bastardize this, so don't take me word for word, but he said that Genghis Khan underwent a very similar revisionist history. And he said that after the further time went from Genghis Khan, people started to realize that his military tactics were quite brilliant. And the epitome of evil, the mass murderer demon person, started to balance out with what he did well. And this is what Ye was trying to say in his interviews after the DEF CON tweet, right? Literally all Ye was saying is that there's a problem. We need to look at it. And then he went on Alex Jones and he's like, we got to stop dissing the Nazis. And that was Ye's way of saying, Jesus loves everyone. We need to look at things and say, take the good and the bad. No more of this cartoon character. No more of this Hollywood Disney movie villain stuff. He said it's time, he was saying basically it's time to move on and deal with the problems that we have, because we are getting bogged down in this story of history, and it's blinding us from taking care of the problems in our society today. And I completely agree. The problem is that these narratives, they benefit people in power right now, and so it's harder. I don't know if it's harder. It's difficult to unwind those narratives when you have active interest in it. This is why the passage of time is so helpful with these things. But we're coming to a point with our country where something needs to change. We're not heading in a good trajectory. Our direction is very, very negative. And so if these things are not forcefully unwound, then it might be too late to make a course change. You can't make a course change without a sense of reality, without a sense of what actually happened. And the propaganda we're being fed is non-conducive, to say the least, to figuring out what is actually going on and why things are going so poorly. It's the obfuscation that I talk about a lot as well. Our system is obfuscated from us. We don't have an accurate look at what the world looks like, at how our country is run. These things are not apparent. They're not readily apparent to us, and they cannot be until we start to unwind them truthfully and with the least amount of bias as possible. We got to just look at these things and figure out what's going on. All right, back to this. He's asked this dude if he wants to speak with the ADL. The ADL, for anyone who doesn't know, is the Anti-Defamation League. This is a specifically pro-Jewish organization. They will ban. They are the people who pull sponsorships, who ban you if you say anything counter-narrative to Jewish people. Even sometimes when you say the same thing they're saying, but just in like a less than positive light than they are. So. Check this out. We'll keep going. We'll see what he says of that.
And praise Allah and respect our Christian heritage.
Would you be interested in talking to the Anti-Defamation League about why you might be misguided on this?
I am not interested in talking to those guys. I am not interested. I don't really support them. Not that I hate them. I just don't support them. I don't
support who?
The ADL. I don't support the Anti-Defamation League. I don't hate them. It's just I just wanted to be on their side. I have no interest in talking to them.
You don't believe the Jews are targeted sometimes? That there's anti-Semitism in the world?
Well, there's anti-Semitism because they want you to believe that there's anti-Semitism. I don't hate Jews. I'm critical of them, but I don't hate them. If I saw a Jew that was, poor and suffering, I would help them. That doesn't mean that I hate them. I am critical of them, but, that doesn't mean that I'm anti-Semitic.
You wore a Nazi armband.
That doesn't make me a hater. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody, and I expect everyone to love me the same back.
Why that symbol? Why that symbol?
Because it's the symbol of National Socialism.
The ship has sailed on what that symbol means. I mean, the world knows what it means. It means one thing to you and something else to everybody else. Don't you think maybe you should choose something else?
I used to believe that, though. No, I'm not going to choose anything else if I have my right. I mean, I used to believe that. I used to believe that Hitler was this evil guy who wanted to rule the world. But, that's when we forgot, it was wrong. We were wrong. That we've been told lies about him.
Who convinced you that he wasn't a bad guy?
Independent website in which I would not go into further. Independent websites that told us the other side of Hitler, and I believed them. They were, it made sense. It sounded sense, so I decided to be convinced. I decided to become a believer.
What's your ethnic background?
I'm Dominican.
Do you think these same people would be receptive to immigration issues? Dominicans living in the U.S.?
Well, I don't know about that. Everybody has a different opinion. Well, in terms of immigration, I want to enforce our immigration law.
All right. There you have it. Cancel that. There you have it. I love this guy. This guy's funny. And he's honest. No matter what you say about him, no matter what you think about him, this dude is honest. He is saying what a lot of people think. A lot of people that want to step out of the propaganda. It feels the same to me as the DARE program. You remember when we were kids, the DARE police would come in and they would tell you how all drugs were the worst thing of all time? They were all evil and you'd ruin your life by doing them once. Then you move to college, you realize, oh, not necessarily. And then you go the complete opposite direction because you realize that these cops came into your life for years and years, all through elementary, middle, high school, and told you lies. They told you propaganda the entire time. When someone lies to you for your entire childhood, for your entire life, whatever it is, when you find out that they have been lying to you this entire time, it doesn't go well. This is why we see such radical swings. This is why we see swings from left to right on a smaller scale. It's why we see big historical swings from open free societies to authoritarian rule. It's because in order to maintain power, most systems have to lie to their people. And then when those people found out they've been lied to, they don't like it. They blame everything bad on whoever has kept them down. And they kick them out. They kick them out of there. Right? So it sucks that we have to keep falling into this because it's a clear cycle of history, but it's also just how things work. I like this dude because he thinks for himself. I don't know why he was wearing... I mean, it's not very optical to wear a Nazi armband in your cab when you're driving, but if you take a look at it without any of the... If you try and decondition yourself from propaganda, this dude is saying, basically, he believes not in liberty, but the fact that there is an order to things. There is a hierarchy of how things should be. He believes in strong borders. He believes that... And what he said about Jews was particularly illuminating because a lot of people can't hold this duality in their minds, and unfortunately, this duality is very true. A lot of people just don't want to believe it for whatever reason. But you can be critical of a group of people and at the same time not hate those people. It's like what we've talked about with the LGBT community. And the allegory, or the man, what's it called? The likeness. What I always liken it to is you don't want to let your kids play out in the street because it's dangerous for them. It's not good for them. That is a more loving aspect, a way to view these lost souls in the LGBT community. But the same type of thought process is what happens with any oppressive group or anyone who's keeping the people down. It's like, I don't hate the individuals, but someone needs to take accountability for what is going on. Someone needs to take accountability for what's happening, and it needs to stop. And because we live in a country, you can't say we're going to take it on an individual by individual basis. That's up for God. You know, God's the only one who can do that, because we don't have enough systems or brain power or whatever, or morality or forethought, whatever you need to do to make that happen. That's not even possible for humans. So unfortunately, you need to look at people by groups. You need to identify the group that is doing the most damage. You need to, like, it's like in Fallout, you're taking an aim at a giant cockroach and you're like, okay, well, if I hit him in the leg, it's a 10% chance. If I hit him in the body, it's a 90% chance. Like, you're going to have to group into some sort of body part on this giant beetle, so it might as well be the 95% one. It's unfortunately, the 5% of that group is going to get caught up in the shitstorm, but 95% is way better than 10%. And this is why people are so goofy when they say liberal elites, shadow government. I understand saying that like we do sometimes to not get banned, but everyone knows what you're actually talking about. And then there's a difference between that and never saying what you're actually talking about, because what that's doing is purposely obfuscating the truth, and it's purposely obfuscating a solution. And it just sucks, but that's how the world works. So, we're kind of off on a tangent, but at the same time as identifying a group, realizing that they are causing a disproportionate amount of the problem, you can also love people within that group. You know, I don't get why more people can't understand this. What's a good analogy here? It's like if you're running a preschool and one kid just keeps eating glue, but the rest of the kid, no, is that the right analogy? There's one in there somewhere. If we're talking about the troublesome elites, it's like all of your preschool class that you're teaching, 90% of them decide to start eating glue to the point where they're making themselves sick. And you're going to get in trouble for this because you're in charge of these kids. It's like, okay, I don't hate the kids that are eating glue, but because I can't figure out which kids are eating glue at any point in time, there's no glue bottles for any of them anymore. We're sending the glue bottles to Australia. The glue bottles go to Australia. No one has glue anymore. Sorry. And I'm sorry to the 2 kids or whatever that didn't eat any glue and are completely fine. I'm sorry. You can't glue your crafts anymore, but it's because the whole group is bad. And that's just how you have to handle it. But that doesn't mean that you don't love the kids. Even the ones who are eating glue, you just say you can't have any more glue. No more crafts, but like, I don't hate you. I just can't let you be doing crafts anymore because you're going to eat all the glue and you're going to get me in trouble. Parents aren't going to like it. So this is another perfect analogy by me. If you don't agree or don't understand or don't think this is the fullness of the truth, then you are wrong. The JQ is exactly like glue bottle preschoolers. And there's no getting around that. But this is what this guy's trying to say too. He's trying to say, just because I see problems within a group doesn't mean that I don't love the people that are within that group. You can do both of those things. And I wish that more people could have that level of nuance when it came to both debates and ideologies and just how they run their life. I've been watching a lot of anti-abortion videos, like they're abortion abolishers, and the vitriol that people come up with to these people and just scream, fuck you. They say all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's just someone there holding a sign. It's like that reaction to someone who is different than you is crazy. But it's a surprising amount of people who react that way because they don't have the capability to step outside themselves. So, anyways, this guy's was really funny. That's pretty much what I have for today. Hope we made some good points. Honestly, let's try and recap what happened here. I learned that National Socialism did not even exist before like World War I. And that's crazy. Fascism around the same time. I learned that this taxi cab driver, Dominican, pretty based. I've never heard a Dominican talk like that. When you hear something like that, it's easy to dismiss him and to just write him off because it is funny. I understand the humor in saying all of that through the lens of someone who hasn't questioned a historical narrative. But so we're kind of in a unique position, actually. It's like we can recognize the humor of it, which is awesome, but we can also recognize where this man's coming from. And nothing he said sounded crazy. His parents disavowed him, which is awful. Said he had mental illness, but nothing that he said was really out of pocket. It all was consistent. And the only thing I don't know is why you would bring that. He either meant to bring the ire on him on purpose, or he just is just like such a passionate guy that he decided he wanted to wear that on the job in his cab. I don't know which one it is. I'm curious, honestly. Since that was in 2014, I wonder if there's any more information. Either way, pretty funny. So take it away from this stream. Just, when you hear something crazy, think about it a little bit. No harm. No harm in thinking differently. Unless you're scared, unless you're a little bitch, then there's a lot of harm and you're gonna die. That's all. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go edit some clips. I'm gonna go hop on Threads and see what's up. See if I'm banned yet. All sorts of good stuff. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. No Game Seller tomorrow. Young's stream is at 2. My stream is at 5, of course. We'll be talking about some other good stuff. And see you then. Later.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.